After a 7-year holiday in the state's finest accommodation, Jake Green, the sharpest Cockney gambler in town, is finally tasting freedom again. Those years behind bars weren't exactly a spa treat. They left him with a little souvenir, a case of claustrophobia so intense, he'd rather hug a cactus than get into an elevator. But cramped spaces aside, Jake, with his brother Billy at his side, is on a mission. They're after Dorothy Matcha, the kind of notorious crime boss and casino owner who thinks dead is a 4-letter word to be avoided at all costs. Buckle up, folks, as Jake and Billy navigate the twists and turns of the underworld, seeking to settle the score. It's going to be one heck of a ride. 2 years after his release, the brothers meticulously planned their confrontation. They head to one of the most prominent casinos owned by Matcha, ready to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. In the casino, Jake's expertise in gambling comes into play. He purposely loses a chip toss to an unsuspecting player, a ruse to manipulate Matcha into a false sense of security. His strategy is precise and calculated. When he bets against Matcha himself, Jake turns the tables and wins, securing a hefty sum. Their victory is short-lived. On their way out, they encounter Zach, a mysterious stranger who ominously warns them of impending danger and offers assistance, handing Jake a cryptic card. Despite the warning, Jake, battling his claustrophobia, decides to take the stairs. But before he descends, he collapses, the card fluttering to reveal a message: take the elevator. In a state of unconsciousness, Jake is rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, no clear cause for Jake's blackout is found, leaving him and his brother perplexed and anxious. Meanwhile, Matcha, fueled by paranoia and the fear of Jake's potential thirst for revenge, particularly after an incident involving Jake's sister-in-law, takes drastic measures. He instructs Paul, his right-hand man, to hire Sorter, an infamously precise hitman, to eliminate Jake. The plot thickens as Jake, upon his discharge, faces imminent danger. Arriving home with his bodyguards for protection, they are ambushed. In a twist of fate, a card on the ground reading "Pick this up" becomes Jake's unwitting savior, causing him to dodge a fatal shot. Amidst chaos and gunfire, Jake's attempt to escape is thwarted as his driver is shot. In a turn of events, Zach reappears, saving Jake from certain death and spiriting him away, leaving the perplexed hitman Sorter to question his rare miss. Confused and cornered, Jake finds himself entangled in a web of crime, deceit, and revenge, far deeper and more perilous than he could have ever anticipated. In the aftermath of his narrow escape, Jake's world becomes even more entangled and perilous. Zach, his enigmatic savior, introduces him to Avi, a figure shrouded in mystery, who seems to hold ominous knowledge about Jake's life. The revelation they present to Jake is as shocking as it is unbelievable. He is suffering from a rare, fatal blood disease, with just 3 days left to live. Their offer of protection comes with steep conditions. Jake must surrender all his wealth and comply unconditionally with their demands. Conflicted and skeptical, Jake seeks validation of his illness. Yet, every medical opinion, including that from his trusted doctor, eerily confirms the grim prognosis. Resigned to his fate, Jake consents to Avi and Zach's terms. He is thrust into the underbelly of their operations, a dark world of loan sharking. As Jake visits various debt-ridden clients to collect payments, he confronts moral dilemmas, witnessing the despair and vulnerability of those unable to pay. This exposure to the plight of the innocents begins to stir a change within him, challenging his perceptions and priorities. Meanwhile, the plot thickens as Matcha, unaware of the storm brewing against him, engages in a covert deal with Sam Gold, a shadowy and powerful crime kingpin. Gold's advisor, Lily Walker, brokers a powder deal with Matcha, emphasizing Gold's aversion to publicity and his unforgiving nature. Unbeknownst to Matcha, Jake, Avi, and Zach are orchestrating a grand scheme to undermine him. As Jake immerses himself deeper into this shadowy world, he learns more about his past and the intricate web of deceit that led to his imprisonment. He discovers Matcha's role in the events that not only landed him in jail but also led to the tragic death of his sister-in-law. Simultaneously, Jake is haunted by memories of his time in solitary confinement, where he learned a formula to win any game from 2 neighboring inmates, a chess master and a conman. He recalls their plan to escape prison and their subsequent betrayal, leaving him behind with a note that played a pivotal role in his future endeavors. You can only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent. As Jake navigates this treacherous landscape, he becomes an unwilling participant in a complex game of deception and revenge. His actions start to affect not only his fate, but also the intricate balance of power within the criminal underworld, setting the stage for an inevitable and explosive confrontation. The tension escalates as Jake's involvement with Avi and Zach leads him into a convoluted plot against Matcha. Their machinations reach a climax when they ingeniously rob Matcha of the powder he had secured for the deal with Gold. This act of subterfuge sets off a dangerous chain reaction, pitting Matcha against his rivals and igniting a war within the criminal underworld. Jake finds himself at the heart of this maelstrom, his every move watched and manipulated by unseen forces. Amidst these tumultuous events, Jake receives a chilling warning from his brother Belly, who uncovers the true extent of Zach and Avi's notoriety. They are figures so formidable and ruthless that even Sam Gold, the puppet master of the criminal world, keeps a wary distance. Despite this revelation, Jake, bound by his agreement and driven by a complex mixture of desperation and intrigue, continues to work for them. As the narrative unfolds, Jake's character undergoes a profound transformation. Confronted with the reality of his impending death and the moral ambiguities of his actions, he begins to question the very essence of his existence and the choices he has made. This introspection leads him to a critical juncture, where he must confront his past and the demons that have haunted him. In a surprising twist, Avi and Zach reveal their true connection to Jake. They were the inmates in the cells next to his during his imprisonment. This revelation shatters Jake's perception of reality, suggesting that they may have been figments of his imagination all along, guiding him through a journey of self-discovery and redemption. The story reaches its zenith when Jake, carrying the stolen powder, confronts Match in a tense and climactic encounter. In a moment of clarity, Jake realizes the futility of revenge and the power of forgiveness. He renounces his vendetta, leaving Match bewildered and defeated, a victim of his own inflated ego and paranoia. The narrative concludes with Jake achieving a profound sense of peace and liberation. He donates his wealth and steps out of the shadows of his past, embracing a new path free from the chains of greed and vengeance. As he faces Matcha one last time, Jake's calm demeanor in the face of danger signifies his transformation from a vengeful gambler to a man at peace with himself, transcending the treacherous game that once defined his existence.